Maybe the likelihood of your child staying at their preferred school is at risk because their individual difference and or need has not been recognised as requiring additional support. Or maybe it wasn't clear what support your child needed, and by the time it was apparent, things had gone too far where re-engaging back into education has become a challenge, leading to moments where we as parents may start to think that accessing an EHCP will make our child's experience less challenging than it currently is. My name is Brenda and I'm a parent mentor and a fellow parent. I support parents raising children with individual needs and differences to stay empowered whilst they navigate through procedural challenges. I've advocated for my son who has a diagnosis of autism and ADHD and other neurodiverse conditions as he went through his education. So in this video, I would like to discuss how an EHCP can help to bring things back into place when situations occur when the likelihood of a child staying in their preferred school is at risk. I'm going to discuss moments where my child's access to education was at risk and how having access to an EHCP secured his place to continue within his preferred educational setting. And hopefully this will provide insight and help parents to take a step back and look at the bigger picture when navigating the process of either accessing a EHCP or maintaining the progress of one. So before we start, let's look at what an EHCP is. An EHCP can be beneficial to a child's progress. It provides a thorough understanding of what your child's needs are, and this could be looking at things such as their preferred learning style, information about their sensory needs. It tells teachers and health professionals how your child has progressed or regressed in a moment in time, where the information may be required to make reasonable adjustments or seek further specialist support. This can make things less challenging because it prevents us parents having to repeat things over and over again, and so there's one solid place where all that information is that people can refer to. There are also times where you have to nudge people or perhaps point them in the right direction, but it's a real thorough document that really can ensure that information about your child is all in the right place. The information accumulated can help in the decision making about what secondary or alternative provision your child can move on to. And for those parents who are currently trying to obtain an EHCP, if a child's individual need meets the need for the legal assessment, they will get one, and the law supports an EHCP being fit for purpose when properly implemented. So what do I mean by securing their education? Let's take it back to how it all starts. So when we as parents start to think about what our child's experience would look like when they start school and embark on their journey. Some of us may have a diagnosis at the start of their education. Like every child that has the right to an equal education, it's important that they can access opportunities to learn subjects, build new skills and social skills with their peers, as well as engaging in the communities in which they live, giving them the opportunity to grow and thrive amongst their peers and make a positive impact on society as a whole. And for those of us that are raising children who have individual needs, this could look very different to perhaps the way we were at school or how other children experience their educational experience, because there are things that we need to look out for that could support their individual needs. So in my experience, why did an EHCP secure my child's education? Now I'm going to talk through two examples where I felt between a rock and a hard place in trying to establish how to secure my child's education in the setting that he preferred. So I like to bring it back to when my son started school. And at the start, he was diagnosed with autism and his other conditions were diagnosed later on. He was in a school, he was used to the teaching staff as well as his peers. But all of a sudden, things started to change that were out of his control. It was external factors that were going on within the school. There was a change of teaching staff, there was a change of uniform, there was a change of how things were done. This had a negative impact on him. Those of you who know that raising a young person living with autism, change can be, not for all, but can be difficult, and navigating and supporting a child in those situations does require additional attention. And this prompted me to go into the school and discuss what was going on. Unfortunately, my experience was that I felt that I wasn't being heard, because there was an expectation for me to understand that yes, there's been changes, there's now been a change of head teacher, these things happen. So the focus had been taken away from supporting my son's individual needs to what was going on externally. Things began to escalate where my son was at risk of being excluded because his unmet needs started to show in challenging behaviours. Therefore, it prompted me to focus on the EHCP. It allowed me to advocate for his needs with support of the EHCP and bring it back to what has always been documented, to let the EHCP do its job by nudging staff and prompting people's attention to what was inside the EHCP. Another time was when my son was in college and he was doing a couple of subjects. So when my son decided to express that he was having challenges with the pace of the course and actually his interests about the course were no longer what he thought they would be, he raised that concern with that teacher. Unfortunately, when he had raised his concerns, this ignited a response where it brought attention to his condition, and it was projected that being a young person with special educational needs shouldn't be on that course. This brought an emergency review meeting, and what helped was bringing it back to what was placed in the EHCP. It allowed other professionals and teaching staff to highlight his strengths, creating a more fair and balanced discussion as to why he should stay at that college rather than to leave and find an alternative course. Thankfully, he was able to stay on at that college and complete those qualifications. Hopefully, these two examples have highlighted how and why an EHCP can secure a place within a preferred educational setting. Being faced with narratives about what my child can manage or what he can achieve was challenging. It would take a toll on any parent who has to witness judgments about your child when they want to be heard and understood. The benefits of an EHCP is that it provides direction, it provides structure, and it does help that our voices are heard as parents and we are available to represent our children when the time requires so. It can be a tool as backup, as my experience has shown, and this is the reason, if any, to stay empowered when advocating for your child's needs to be met, so that you can secure their ability to learn and thrive so that they can reach their full potential. So if you find this information useful, why not take a look at some of my other videos? If this information resonates with you, why not share with other parents who you might think are going through a similar situation? But for now, keep doing what you're doing, stay focused, stay empowered, and keep creating progress. Thank you for listening.